basketball fans, welcome back. So, in the past few days, I've been releasing videos talking about the Team Lioness and Team Morans, and in this one, it's going to be a bit different, and you're going to go back down memory lane. And the reason as to why I say this is because we're going to be touching on one Betty Kananu. So, there's a lot of controversy in that Team Lioness selection, especially when that list came out. We saw the reigning MVP was not there on that list, and it rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. And today, when I was scrolling through the paper, I saw from People Daily, even I've posted it on our stories, you could see that there are people who feel some type of way about Betty being snubbed, and they believe that she needs to be there. But the real and main question that people somewhat forget to ask is, why is she being treated unfairly? So why is this situation as it is right now? And in this video, I will do my best to unpack everything on this issue, so that you get a full and firm understanding of what is really happening. But before I get started, like, share, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, get notified, and yeah, man, stay up to date with this type of content. So 2019 is the year, and the Kenya Lioness team were playing in Dakar, Senegal, in the Afrobasket. So I'm going to let this viral video play, then we're going to come back.
2, 1. Greetings everyone, this is the Kenya Women's Senior Basketball National Team representing our beloved nation at the Afrobasket tournament in Dakar, Senegal. Our understanding is that the Women's Commission is an extension of the Women's National Team. You are our voice and we feel we are not being heard. Right now, we have experienced very poor standards. We have only been paid 10,000 shillings for this assignment. We are being forced to play an international tournament with only 10 players and 1 coach, while being expected to perform at a high level, which puts us at a great disadvantage. Call to action to Women's Commission and all relevant parties. We are asking that the leadership pushes the Federation and the government to release our funds as per the budget, which was sent immediately after we qualified for the Afrobasket in Uganda. We understand the budget was $50 per day per player from the government and some more money from the Federation. As we prepare for our next game on Wednesday against Angola, we would like a solution to this issue.
All right. Now, in this video, we'll be looking at also 2 articles. You've seen the viral video, and there's this article that was done by Nairobi News at the time. So this article is dated August 13th, 2019. So when that viral video went online, the Federation, a lot of the stakeholders in basketball, all of them got involved in this. Even at some point, mainstream media picked it up. So the article from Nairobi News is titled, "The Kenya National Women's Basketball Team Players Cry Out for Help." So the video in itself, the way I've played it there, it was a bit hard to come by, but luckily enough, I had very good archives. I can say we because I have an assistant. So it took a lot of digging, but luckily your boy got you. We got that video that gave us an insight to what was really going on in that whole situation, and the way the players were subjected to the worst. So I feel very sad, and my heart goes for these players at this time. I know it takes time to fade. Then the memory never fades away, and such experiences can lead to can have a long-lasting and somewhat traumatic experience when you experience it. I know this because when you undergo something that is traumatic and it pushes you to the edge, those memories tend to stick longer. And my heart goes to these ladies, because they were treated unfairly, and the federation with the way they operate, just threw them under the bus. And this was very unacceptable. And the response that we saw from even the president, Paul Otula, it was so condescending to the point where, I mean, even verbatim, if you just look at how he responded to it, it was like, these are not an issue. We already talked about this. They're just complaining. So it was very insensitive, and I felt very bad. So when even I was researching this piece work to be able to put together, I felt very sad, and it's an experience that you can't even wish it on anyone to happen. So yeah, so let's just go through a couple of things that was said in that video and also in this article. So the embarrassing state of Kenyan sports has again been highlighted that the women's national team players released a video on social media while on international duty, complaining over poor conditions they were being subjected to. So in that 1 minute video, the 10 ladies led by Hilda Masiwanyama, they enumerated a long list of complaints, including the delayed payments of their allowances. So while holding each other perhaps in a show of solidarity, the players also complain about the government's failure to facilitate the full squad to travel to Dakar, Senegal for the AfroBasket tournament. So without mincing words, they also lay the blame squarely on the doorstep of the Kenya Basketball Federation. So the Kenya Basketball Federation has been mandated to make sure to cater for the national teams, both the men's and women's teams. So they were very irresponsible in how they managed that team, and they put that team in the worst situation possible and manageable. So the video you could see, I can go ahead and quote as saying what Hilda said at the time. We have experienced very poor standards. We've only been paid 10,000 so far for this assignment. We are being forced to play an international tournament with only 10 players instead of 12 and one coach instead of 3, while being expected to perform at a high level, which puts us at a great disadvantage. So you could see the blatant disregard of the national team coming from KBF side. And the players are in their right to question and air out this. So the Lioness, they had lost their 2 opening matches against Mozambique and Cape Verde, and were scheduled to play against Angola. And unfortunately, things did not go our way. So she added, we are asking the leadership of the Women's Commission to push the Federation and the government to release funds as per the budget that was sent immediately after we qualified for the AfroBasket in Rwanda. So we understand the budget was $50. That's about 5,000 Kenya shillings per player per day, with some more money from the federation. As we prepare for our next game against Angola, we would like a solution on this issue. So you could see the players in solidarity. They were asking for what is their right and what they require that they can be able to perform. So you see the lack of facilitation put these players at a very, very odd point and put them in a very bad situation. And KBF, with their incompetent nature, refused to acknowledge, and they refused to take any liability. So the Kenya law states that the government should support all national teams competing in international assignments. So we have seen a lot of mismanagement when it comes to other federations, but the reason as to why I solely focus on the Kenya Basketball Federation is because they're the governing body in basketball, and they're affecting a sport that I am covering currently. So the players, I felt so bad for these players because they did not deserve to be subjected to this at all. And they poured their blood, sweat, and tears so that they can be able to play and represent the country. And it's not easy representing the country because you have a whole nation on your back. It's different from when you're playing for a club. And when you have your home country not be able to support you or even facilitate you so that you can be able to operate at the level you want or the level that is required for the tournament, you're bound not to get the results that you are supposed to get. And the nonchalant and lax attitude for the federation was the thing that I took issue with. And they didn't take care of even the well-being of these players. And it was very traumatic, I can say that. Now, fast forward 2 years later, when there was another Afrobasket tournament happening. There's this article that was made public, and the Secretary General at the time, Ambrose Kisoi, he had some choice things to say. So the article reads, the players who complained in the video for being mistreated left out of the squad for tarnishing Kenya's name. So this is this one I can say it can anger anyone, because the feelings that these players felt is they feel, what I know about feelings is they are real to the person who experienced it. So these people, especially the management for KBF, are too insensitive on this. And when we go through this article, you'll see as to why Betty is not on the team anymore. Because as you can see from this graphic, you can see this is Betty. She has number 11. Masiwanyama, Hilda, Delafit, Vilma, this is Silalei, Belinda, Debbie, and Samba. So you can see all of them. Luckily enough, I don't know, I've forgotten her name, but yeah, it is what it is. So the players who complained were supposed to give an apology. So this was actually quite it was quite I felt irate when I was reading it before recording the video. So Kenyan players that released the video to the public protesting the state of the welfare while they are representing the country at the FIBA basketball championship in Dakar have been snubbed in the latest national team call-ups. Only 2 of the 10 that participated in the championship made the 22-man squad announced by KBF to hit camp ahead of the upcoming 2021 FIBA Women's Afrobasket qualifiers. So the 8 who are omitted, including the captain, including captain and KPA shooting guard Hilda Ndasi, with only Georgina Odhiambo Otieno, who plays for Umbwe BC in Rwanda, and Mercy Wanyama called up. So KBF secretary, so this is the former, because Ambrose Kisoi, he resigned, and Angela Luchivia was elevated to Secretary General, and Moses Wanjara was put as the Assistant Secretary General. So the former KBF Secretary General, Ambrose Kisoi, admitted the players were being left out as punishment for failing to apologize to the Federation and the government for tarnishing the country's name. So this is pure and premium gaslighting out here. So after we have seen what has happened to these players, even you can see when they made this video, this was not a happy mood, and they didn't make this video with the intention of tarnishing the name. They were exposing the things that they were going through. At some point, you just wonder, like the thinking and the mentality that KBF have. They are so disillusioned with the fact that they are supposed to cater to this team and make sure this team is set up for success, but instead they choose to gaslight them and make it as if it's the ladies who are on the wrong, and it's not them who are on the wrong. The ladies did their part. They went ahead and practiced. They were available. They needed to be facilitated to be able to play. The ladies came out so to demand what is rightfully theirs, but you can see from this article, failing to apologize to the Federation on tarnishing the country's name. How is it tarnishing if you are asking for what is rightfully yours? It's crazy. So after the video, so former Secretary General Ambrose Kisoi, he said this. After the video they released in Dakar, where they are required to write an apology, they were required to write an apology, and since our main sponsor is the government, it becomes difficult to have people who have offended the sponsor and have failed to apologize. So the sponsor did not do their job, and KBF did not do their job, and you want them to apologize to them for you want the ladies to apologize for you not doing your job. So which one is it? Which one is it? So immediate former head coach Ronnie Owino, who was with the team in Dakar, Senegal, refused to comment on the issue but said the composition from the team announced will be different had he still been in charge. Had he still been in charge. So Ronnie Owino, he was quoted as saying, I know for sure there was a committee that was there to choose the team, and now every coach has their preference, and no every coach has their preference. The list could be a bit different if I was in that position. I mean, when you just look at this, you just wonder, you just ask yourself a lot of questions. So, in the 1 minute video that the 10 ladies held by Hilda and Masiwanyama, I mean, they had a long list of complaints, late payments, all that. We have covered it in the previous article. The team was forced to play an international tournament with only 10 players instead of 12 and one coach instead of 3, all that. They laid the blame squarely on the doorstep of the federation and went ahead to finish in position 11 out of the 12 teams that participated. So the question is, how were they going to be able to even play at a high level given those hard conditions? So in Dakar, we had Hilda, Vilma, Masiwanyama, Georgina, Debbie, Sambabola, Betty was there, Belinda, Silalei, Andros, and Coach Ronnie Owino. So, as you can even see from the team list that came out, you could see some players who featured, and I'm also going to bring that one up because, man, you look at this, then you just wonder, like, you just ask yourself so many questions. So they were just being gaslit there. Now, let me pull it up a bit so I can be able to see, because as per the article, the former Secretary General said, "Hey, look, you all need to apologize so you can go get back to our good graces." Now, let's see. Let me just make this one here big a bit so I can have it the side by side. Okay, there we go. All right. Now, is there okay? Now let's see. Masiwanyama, she's there on the list. Let's see. She's there, so that means she apologized. All right. Samabola is not there. She retired. Betty supposed to be there, but she's not there. Silalei not there. Belinda not there. Okay. Vilma not there. So out of the list, the team list that we have right now, from the squad that played in 2019, let me see. We have okay. Let's see. So from the whole list, it's only 2 players. So it's Mercy and Betty. So Betty is supposed to be on the list, but looks like she didn't apologize. Let's see, is Hilda there? No, she's not there. So majority of the players are players who were introduced to the team later. But from what we saw here from this article, the former Secretary General said they needed to apologize. Imagine that. I mean, you need to apologize for a mistake you didn't commit. You are highlighting what you wanted to be done for you so that you can be able to succeed, but yet they gaslight you and say that you are on the wrong. And that's what has made Betty Kananu not be on that list, because she stood up for what she believed in that video, and they were in very harsh conditions. And out of all the players, she refused to apologize, and rightfully so. She should not apologize, and she should never even apologize, because she knows what she was subjected to, even what the whole team was subjected to. Even the other players, they know what they were subjected to at that time, and the feeling was raw at that time, and you could just see the frustration that team had. Even from that photo, you can just read it, like it's there. Like you You can just see it. They don't even have to say anything, because that whole situation, it just it brought a very sour taste to a lot of people's mouths at the time. And the real reason as to why Betty is not in that list is because she said she's not gonna apologize because she didn't make a mistake. And that's as to why I am firmly defending her, because she was on the right, KBF on the wrong, but KBF were trying to make it that she was on the wrong and she needed to apologize for quote unquote tarnishing the name of the sponsor. And the players and the way the reports are coming out, they came out, looks like these people refuse to take any accountability. And look, this article in which you could see the former Secretary General when he spoke, it's dated April 28th, 2021. This one where they made the viral video was August 13th, 2019. So that means they carried that grudge for 2 years. And they are saying, if any of these ladies tries to come back to the team, we have to force them to apologize so that they can play. So it's a very sad situation. And this is the video that I can say broke this core of this team. And you can see the other new players who joined the team. And for some reason, there was somewhat of like a gag order that they did not it's like they were not supposed to say anything about that. I know it was a very traumatic experience, and I know a lot of players would not want to share like a lot because of the feeling that comes with it. But Betty not being on that list for the ladies team that is going to play in a few weeks, that's something that it drives me off the wrong way. And the way KBF handled this situation, it shows you the type of incompetence that we have here in KBF. And yours truly, I'm here to expose all these things. And honestly, it pains me and it breaks my heart, because there are players who aspire to play for the national team, and there are players who want to play for the national team. But when they see the team history and what the players are subjected to, it makes them reconsider that decision in trying to commit or even say that they want to be on that team. So it's a very sad state. And the thing that puzzled me so much is, where were the women leaders, the leadership? Because at that time, the Kenya Morans team manager was there. Remember, she did an interview with Women's Sport. She said that the Kenya Morans, they started their campaign for the 2019 Afro-Chan in 2018 when they assembled the squad. Where was she? Where were the women leadership? Where was the women's leadership? Because you're not seeing any, we did not see any woman come and vehemently call out the federation. Even after, let's say, even after this whole ordeal, even in 2021, where were they to defend the ladies who were subjected to that in 2021, when they were being cut off from the squad by the KBF leadership, led by former Secretary General Ambrose Kisoi? Where were they? That's the big question. I mean, there are more questions than answers, but hey. So that's what I got for you guys. So now I believe you understand the real reason as to why Betty Kananu is not on the list, and any of those players who played for the national team at the time. And if you see them on the list, just know that they apologized. They went ahead and apologized. Like Masiwanyama apologized to KBF because of that video for tarnishing. That's why she's there. So you can even see what players stand for, and you can see like a lot of players they're not united, because that viral video was made because of unity. But you can see other people had other interests. They're like, hey, you know what? I want to play for the national team. Let me just, sell out a bit, then I go back in. So if you see any of these players featured here, right? See any of these players apart from Betty, just know that they No, some of them have retired. Some of them play for other teams. So if you see any of this, just know they apologize. Like Mercy apologized, and that's why she played in 2023, and that's the reason as to why she's on the list right now. Betty, she said she stood firm with what she believed in, and that's the reason as to why we are not seeing her in the national team, even after she led the Equity Hawks to the championship and won the MVP, a distinction that KBF gave her. So it's the blackballing and the blacklisting is real. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys. So do drop me your comments in the comment section down below on what you think about this. I mean, when you go back and just look at this whole story, it never. I mean, it just pains and it's just a heartbreaker. So like, share, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.
The situation with the Kenya ladies basketball team, the national basketball team, is really sad because they were in a foreign country with only $100 allowance, and then they made that video because they wanted to speak out and so that everybody knows how disappointed they are, and so that the situation can change. And then the chairman of the National Basketball Federation released a statement and said that they will get their allowances when they come here, when they come back. And we all had this long story about the person who is with the money not being around the country, blah, blah, blah. So they said, okay, let's be reasonable, let's play our games, and then let's go back to Kenya and get our allowances. So when they arrived, apparently they're being told to first apologize for the video that they took voicing their dissatisfaction. And it's really sad that apparently the ministry will not release any funds, will not release the allowances that they promised to them until they apologize. And they've all been sort of gagged. They cannot say anything for fear of being victimized. So the people in the basketball fraternity, the coaches, the stakeholders, the players themselves, they've tried to reach out to the girls to ask them, but none of them is saying anything. They're all like, we cannot say anything. I think they fear being victimized because they know if they say anything fast, they will not receive their money that they really need, that they really deserve. And then I think second, some of them fear that they will not be called for national team again. And as a young player, you still want to, to represent your country outside there. And I think they fear that they will not be called again to play, which is really sad because some players pulled out because they were looking at the situation, and they were like, we cannot handle this. And I think, help. We just need your help. We need to fight for these girls. They went, they represented the country, and they came back. Recently, the boys went to meet the president this week at State House. The girls were not part of it. It's terrible. It's terrible, and Jerry, our girls should not be treated like this. They should not beg for allowances. They should not beg for a $50 per day allowance from the ministry and be made to apologize for it.